there was no restraint. Elbows, pushes, shoves. Ramos on Messi, Busquets on Pepe. Bench-clearing fights. Then came the infamous moment that defined the ugliness of it all. A touchline scuffle broke out between staff members. And in the chaos, Mourinho reached out and poked Tito Vilanova, Pep's assistant, in the eye. The world froze. Cameras zoomed in. Replays looped endlessly. It wasn't football anymore. It was psychological and physical warfare televised. Pep stood motionless, watching, jaw clenched. He didn't shout, didn't react, but his silence said everything. He was done. After the Supercopa, nothing felt the same. Friendships between national teammates shattered. Casillas stopped talking to Piqué. Ramos refused to shake hands with Busquets. Spain's golden generation was tearing itself apart, all because of two men and their ideologies. But for Mourinho, this was victory. He'd made Guardiola angry, emotional, human. He'd dragged him down from the clouds and into the dirt. And that's where Mourinho always thrived. Still, deep down, Pep knew something Mourinho didn't. You can win battles through hate, but hate consumes its own army. The war had reached its peak. But the toll was coming. Because in the next chapter, the same obsession that fueled greatness would begin to destroy it. When rivalry became religion. By 2012, Spain wasn't just split between two football clubs, it was divided into two faiths. Every cafe, newsroom, and family dinner table had turned into a battleground. You were either with Guardiola's Barcelona or Mourinho's Madrid, and there was no middle ground. This wasn't a rivalry anymore. It was identity versus rebellion. Catalonia's cry for independence echoed through the Camp Nou, while Madrid stood as the symbol of the state, the establishment, the empire. Football was no longer just sport, it was politics wearing boots. The players felt it too. On international duty with Spain, teammates barely spoke to one another. Casillas and Piqué, once brothers in red, stopped exchanging words. Sergio Ramos and Busquets clashed over club loyalties. Even Vicente del Bosque, the national team coach, admitted, the real fight isn't between players, it's between ideologies. And at the heart of it all were two men who refused to blink. Mourinho had turned the Spanish media into his playground. Every week, his press conferences were headline material. He didn't just speak, he provoked. He accused referees of favoritism, called Barcelona actors, and painted himself as the martyr of fairness. The phrase, "they protect Barca," became a national echo. And whether it was true didn't matter. It was believable. Under Mourinho, Real Madrid became a movement, a rebellion against the perfection that Barcelona represented. Ramos, Pepe, and Coentrão embodied that spirit. Tackles came harder, elbows flew higher. Every Clásico was a brawl disguised as football. Barcelona, on the other hand, refused to stoop, at least at first. But even Pep's men began to crack. Busquets mocked opponents. Alves exaggerated contact. The purity of tiki-taka was now stained with theatrical survival. Football had become theatre, and the villains and heroes swapped masks every week. By late 2011, Spain's most watched event had turned into its most controversial. Red cards became expected. Referees trembled before every whistle. Even FIFA stepped in, urging both clubs to restore the image of the sport. But how do you restore something that's already shattered? The 2011-12 season brought moments of brilliance, but always with an undertone of rage. When Messi scored, he didn't smile, he glared. When Ronaldo scored, he didn't celebrate, he screamed. Both men had been dragged into their manager's war, and their greatness began to feed on hatred instead of joy. In one match at the Bernabeu, after another brutal tackle from Pepe, Guardiola turned to his bench and said quietly, "They're not here to play, they're here to destroy." And yet, even then, Barcelona couldn't escape. Mourinho's mind games were working. Every touch, every pass, Every gesture